Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If we can all stand for prayers. Creator and sustainer of all things and all people, you are the source of all wisdom and light. Enlighten our minds to receive your guidance so that you may lead us into true wisdom. May all that we say and do in the service of this county, whether as elected member or as officer, be in accordance with your will and for the good of your people. Amen. In the event of having to evacuate the council chamber, would everyone leave by one of the two exits at the rear of the chamber? Officers will be on hand to assist any people with disabilities. May I ask all members who have mobile phones with them to ensure that they are switched off so that they will not disturb the meeting. Chairman's announcements. Armistice Day was marked on Monday the 11th of November, when many public spaces and workplaces came to a halt to mark the traditional 2-minute silence held at 11 o'clock. Here at County Hall, we held a short service at our Stand Easy Memorial, where 100 invited guests were joined by many staff. The service was dignified and involved the local armed forces and veteran community, as well as pupils from the Hall Primary School, who once again produced such an excellent remembrance display in the main reception. To see the generations coming together for this act of homage was a particular highlight for me. I would like to take this opportunity of congratulating Susan Williamson from our Corporate Resources Department, who played the last post and revelly so competently. Can't get my words out. I am sure members would wish to join me in recording our thanks and appreciation to all those involved. The staff in Corporate Resources once again organised a very successful poppy appeal across County Hall, with events and competitions to supplement the funds raised from the sale of poppies. The final figure is yet to be confirmed, but will exceed £5,000. Again, I am sure that members will wish to join me in recording our thanks and appreciation to all staff concerned. Bosworth Battlefield Heritage Centre is officially the best small attraction in Leicestershire, after winning the Great Day Out Best Small Attraction category at the Leicestershire Promotions Tourism and Hospitality Awards 2019. Announcing Bosworth as the winner at the prestigious ceremony at Athena in Leicester, judges described the attraction as simply a cracking day out that kept two slightly reluctant young people engrossed and wanting to go back again. This is a well-deserved tribute to the hard work of the staff and volunteers involved in making the site a must-visit attraction for people of all ages. I am aware that we're in the pre-election period, which is a time of heightened sensitivity. I would ask members in making speeches not to seek to elicit support for a particular political party and to focus on our role as county councillors. I welcome to the meeting all visitors and guests of members and of course anyone who is joining us on the webcast today. I move that the minutes of the meeting of the council held on the 25th of September 2019, copies of which have been circulated to members, be taken as read, confirmed and signed. Mr. O'Shea will second. Thank you. I invite members who wish to do so to make declarations of interest in respect of items on the agenda for this meeting. Are there any declarations? No? Thank you. The questions and replies set out in the ordered paper will be taken as read and entered into the minutes. I have received notice of a supplementary question to question B and will now call upon Mr Hunt to ask them.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Once again, I have to say the answer to a question, it's not the answer to the question, it's an answer to the question that I think the leader or his acolyte wants to answer. The question is, bearing in mind that this popular route to work by bike for many Shepshed inhabitants, can the leader explain why this was overlooked? Now the question of whether it was overlooked or not is key to this, because if it was overlooked, which is my information, this is a post hoc justification of a serious error in the specification of the A512 project.
Members at the back are saying that they can't hear.
Okay,
No.
Can everyone hear me?
We're just going to check, so if you just...
Is it possible, we couldn't hear, is it possible for the replies given that the question is re-put?
Thank you, Mr Osborne. I am going to ask Mr Hunt to do that when they've done something with the sound system. I don't know if you can all hear me now.
Could Mr Hunt try again?
Not brilliant, but I am brilliant.
Ask Mr Hunt if he could repeat it.
Yeah. Mr Hunt, can you... You can hear us now, too well. Mr Hunt, could you please repeat your question?
Yeah, I'll put it very briefly. Was the matter overlooked, or is this a post hoc justification of an error that was made in specifying the A512 widening and works?
Mr Payne.
Well, Madam Chairman, thank you, and now we can all hear. I don't believe that it was an oversight at all. I think the question has been answered. I think the first point, or the question that was raised by Mr Hunt, was more of a statement, but his question referred to whether the scheme work was obliged to tie in appropriately with the current walking and cycling provision along the A512, and I think the answer answers that point. It does. Toucan crossings are being provided. There is always more that can be done to promote and make sure that non-motorised vehicles and traffic and cycleways are put in place on SJ highways, and we'll continue to explore how we do that. Thank you.
Number 3, which is an extremely helpful response, which says that on such major road projects, recent guidance requires appropriate user groups when considering to be consulted, when considering what facilities can be included. And I would have expected that to have happened. It hasn't happened in this case, and I would suggest that had appropriate user groups been consulted on the A512 at that stage, at the stage of the specification, what I regard as a serious error would not have occurred. Thank you.
Mr Payne, do you wish to reply?
Again, I don't believe that was a question. It was a matter of an opinion. But as the response has already said, there was a user audit conducted for this particular scheme. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr Payne. We now receive position statements from members of the Cabinet. The leader will make his statement.
Sorry, missed out page number 5.
Oh, sorry.
Agenda item 5.
Oh, sorry. To the Constitution Committee, Mr Rushen to move.
Chairman, can I move the motion on the Green Order paper marked A?
All in favour? Green? In favour, yeah? No, sorry. Anybody against? Thank you. Anybody abstaining? Motion. The question is, the motion is carried. Thank you. We're now on to position statements. So the leader will make his statement.
Madam Chairman, thank you very much. And although it's rather early in the month of December, it is our last full council of the year. Can I take the opportunity to wish yourself, Madam Chairman, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and also to all other members of the County Council of all political parties, and place on record our thanks as the administration for everybody's good work and diligence in attending meetings and contributing to the work of Leicestershire. So thank you all very much. My position statement, Madam, obviously the first item is about the serious flooding which has occurred in Leicestershire, especially in my division, which has been particularly hardest hit. So we've been called out 246 times in relation to flooding, 59 roads were closed and sandbags were delivered to 56 properties. In November there were 160 call-outs, 27 road closures and 15 requests for sandbags. That's in addition, if I can place on record, Madam Chairman, in addition to what the district councils have done, and I think they've all worked very, very hard. And I know my own district council has made a substantial contribution to helping with what has been a serious problem. The County Council, as the lead flood authority, continues to work with residents, parishes and the flood risk management authorities to investigate flooding, the priority being to investigate areas where properties have flooded. We also work with the LLRP partnership, ensuring adequate plans are in place to deal with the sudden extreme weather events. I'm obviously thanking my own team and Blake for the work they've done, and to help members, I've included information on the website and on this specific occasion an appendix which is an anomaly for the leader's statement to help members to understand what our roles and responsibilities are, because often when people call you up they think that we're responsible as usual for absolutely everything, whereas we're only responsible to assess and do what we can, but other people are responsible for the mitigation measures and the improvements in the future. So Appendix A will be helpful, not only helpful for members here, but the fact it will be on the website so members of the public know where to go for what. On the Green Council carbon reduction strategy, just one more small thing to add, which I didn't include in my statement. Members will have noticed today that we have now officially withdrawn plastic water bottles, both fizzy and still. Jugs of water will now be available. So today I've only got regular water as a contribution towards our green agenda. Now you may think it's a small thing, but we obviously use a lot of plastic water bottles here, and if we set an example to other businesses and councils and people within the county, little things make a big difference, and it shows that we are serious about reducing our carbon footprint. So I'm sorry that you noticed your water bottles aren't available, but water is available, and it'll be the same as where we've withdrawn the plastic cups in the canteen. You can still have coffee, but you can't have a plastic cup. You need to take your own. So I'm sorry I didn't let you know in advance, but we're happy to do it, and I hope you don't complain too much. We've made this commitment to carbon neutral by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2050. As you can see on the next page, work is taking place to turn these commitments into action. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we've got here, not least the new solar farm at Quorn, which is a commitment which we've made to be carbon neutral. And as I keep tweeting, we're a blue council, we want to be green, but we are a green council, we want to be green. So if we take the politics out of it, the principle is we want to be a green council, and we want the public to recognise that we are a green council. Same as they recognise we've got no money, they also now need to recognise that we're doing our absolute utmost to be a green council, not just passing random motions because it is politically expedient. We truly believe it. As you can see on the next paragraph, Tree Week, I've been planting trees all over the blooming place. I planted one here in Asa, I planted 2 or 3 down at Bradgate. I attended tree conferences and climate change conferences, again showing people that we are serious about being green. and certainly serious about planting trees where we can. On the HIF bids, which is the next thing, we've obviously got the Melton Mowbray money, which was announced before the general election. And I thank Sir Alan Duncan, although we did a lot of work, in all honesty, a lot of expenditure to get this bid in. I honestly think without Sir Alan up there lobbying for it would have been harder to get it, and it certainly would have been impossible to get it before the announcement of the general election, because nearly every other one in the country is now on hold pending the outcome of the general election. But it's great news for Melton Mowbray. Byron's been campaigning for it since he was about 12 years old, so that makes it 70 years ago. But we have now got it, and it will make a meaningful difference to everybody in Melton Mowbray, not only residents, but also those of us who just want to travel past it without getting stuck in traffic lights for ages. And of course, when you're stuck in traffic lights for ages, your car or your truck or your bus is blowing out fumes. So the worst possible areas for air quality are where traffic is stationary. So even building roads can be construed as being green, because what we want is engines running smoothly, not stopping, not starting, not parking, and blowing out the fumes. And where you've got high walls at the side, as you have in some areas of Melton Mowbray, it does make the air quality issues quite poor. I'm not preaching to you, Pam, I know you're from Melton Mowbray, but you understand. And then the Empower Index, again, fantastic news for the lowest funded county council in the country to be judged third year running as the most efficient. In a way, it's a twin-edged sword. We win awards with no money. So they say to us, well, why do you need more money? And I say, well, give us more money because there's lots and lots of things that the residents of Leicestershire are entitled to. And at the moment, because of the lack of money, we are not getting. So if we can be productive with our small pot of money, why not give us the same as Surrey and let us be productive with a large pot of money? CCN conference was titled Unleashing the Power of Counties. It was a very good conference, Madam Chairman. I was grateful for Simon, leader of the Liberal Democrats, to attend, and Betty attended this year because Terry was unable to as the Labour leader. But it was a good conference. Nice to meet up with fellow leaders and county councillors. Everybody has a pretty similar agenda, and delivering infrastructure and unleashing the power of counties was the theme. Unfortunately, no ministers could be there because of the election. It was a shame, but it was just slightly different with no ministers there. Andrew Neil, who was the speaker, was particularly good, I thought. He was a lot more political than some speakers we've had in the past, but you know, the CCM paid quite big money to employ these people to come along and speak. So I thought he was very good indeed. Remembrance Sunday. Obviously, you do a lot of Remembrance Sundays, Chairman, and you do the one in Leicester because it's the capital of the county. I attended Ashby de la Zouch as one of the local members. A little bit of Ashby is mine, the majority is Big John's. And I get to lay a wreath because I'm the county leader. So I lay one there with Big John, and then I do one here outside Stand Easy to represent, I think it's the members rather than the staff, I think you do that. But I thought that this year, I've noticed that there's more and more people, especially young people, turning up to these events. Now in Ashby there was 4 or 5 Scout and Girl Guide packs there. There was 3 football clubs, 2 rugby clubs, cricket clubs. Obviously the people are always there. And I just thought that if I get to lay a wreath and I get called up 4th or 5th, you know, obviously after the Lord Lieutenant, obviously after yourself if you were there, that there must be other county councils that turn up to events. And I think we all go to some event and we don't have the opportunity to lay a wreath on the behalf of the county council. So I spoke to the chief and he says that starting from next year, we will make a wreath available to all county councillors, same as I get, just has a little plastic envelope on the front and it will say on it, laid on the behalf of the county council. So wherever you turn up, because you are the senior politician there, generally speaking, after the Member of Parliament, you should be able to lay a wreath on behalf of the county council. And where I lay a wreath on the behalf of the county council, it is well respected and people thank me for it. So I want to announce that from next year, anybody who wants a wreath to lay as the county councillor will contact Tim Webster or whoever, if Tim's not here because he's not here all the time, and have a wreath to lay it on behalf of the County Council. And that's it for today, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. I'm still getting signs from some people that they still have a difficulty hearing. It's okay now. Is it okay now? Yeah. Right, thank you. Mr. Feltman.
Thank you, Chairman. Right. Couple of things. Particularly about the Green Council. Delighted that that's been going ahead, and also obviously some of the projects that are underway, particularly about the tree planting. So much so that in my own parish, in Kidworth Harcourt, one of our councillors decided to apply for some saplings, and lo and behold, a couple of weeks ago, 400 of them arrived. And so last weekend, he, with a whole team of volunteers, plus actually some children from the primary school, all went out for a couple of days and planted them. So I spoke to him last night to congratulate him, and obviously because it's such a good thing. And he said it was so good, he's ordering another 400. So that will be really good. And then that, you know, it all helps, doesn't it, to keep the flow of trees being planted around the county. And the other point I was going to make about Remembrance Sunday, I've been very fortunate and honoured that in my own parish I've been laying the wreath now as chairman of the parish council for about the last 6 years. But before I was given that role, or elected to that role, I have to say I stood there as a member of the county council while the fire, the police, the scouts, the local newspaper, the parish councils, all, and I did feel slightly that perhaps I should be laying my own one for the county council. So I have to say this is very welcome, and I should perhaps have to find someone else to carry my parish council one, otherwise I have to lay two. But yeah, delighted, very, very good news. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, we've had a lot of areas where flooding has occurred this time. And as I've asked for previously, I think county needs to look at its capital investment in alleviation schemes where we can put some more money in again this year. In my patch, we've got a lot of old mine workings and quite a lot of new houses. Not a good combination where flooding is concerned. And I'll ask the lead member to look particularly at the scheme which was recently completed at Bath Lane and Via Divana in Moira, which is widely perceived to have failed. It was completed in October and it flooded badly again in November on the 14th. I think we need proper investment in this and get a comprehensive job done. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank the leader for his statement. I think it is timely to have a statement on flooding. I mean, the situation has just been atrocious with the amount and volume and the persistence of the rain over the last few weeks. And I know that it has put pressure on the staff in the local Leith Flood Authority to respond to the residents' concerns. And I think it is right. We do need to give people as much information on how to access help and support and what the County Council can and can't do in these situations. I do think as this becomes a more regular occurrence, that we are going to have to look at the amount of resources and expertise that we do have here. In my opinion, that it would be a high priority, because I think that the staff there are actually, they've got too much on in trying to respond. And that's not a criticism in any way. It is just the volume of expectation is rising when these events occur. I think there is a particular problem with residents' understanding, what's become much more of a common problem, saturated gardens, which is not specifically referred to riparian owners where there's a watercourse. But I get more and more requests for help, what can be done to help people. The garden is just absolutely saturated. And often there's been some event, so there's been some development taking place up the road, and there's an assumption that something's happened as a result of that, the houses being built or something causing the problem. So whether there could be some investigation at least to try and find out why that's happening, but it is becoming more problem, surface water on people's private properties, and they just don't know what to do about it. So even if it's advice and help, and perhaps a leaflet that was produced, I think that would be a good first step. And it does tie into decisions the Council's taken on the climate change, isn't it? And to look at that, it is all linked, and it is important going forward. And then just briefly, I wanted to comment and welcome this initiative to provide the opportunity for members to lay wreaths on Remembrance Sunday. I agree that it is It's very pleasing to see the younger generation taking more interest and asking more questions and finding out more about what happens and why we have a Remembrance Sunday. And you know, it's entirely optional for members whether they wish to take this up, but I for one would like to do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And I thank the leader for his report. And I'm very pleased that we are explaining to the public better our response to flooding. We had some problems in flooding in Hugglescott St John's, which is one of my neighbouring district areas, which was due to combined Victorian sewers and probably also due to the new housing that's being put in. And in a response to that, I wasn't entirely sure myself what people should do, and so put together an article which went into the Culver Eye in November. And then, of course, in November, we had serious flooding. Councillor Sheehan has mentioned the flooding at Via Davana Measham, which he personally showed me the aftermath of that. I was driving back from the airport, which was a bad idea on Thursday the 14th, and the flooding was pouring off the fields. It is a very complex area, and the response that we as the public sector have is also complicated because there seem to be multiple agencies. There are different agencies to go to in an emergency than in a non-emergency. The district councils have a role. It is very confusing for the public. So I'm pleased that we are beginning to help the public to understand our role and perhaps understand our own role better. As far as the Green Council, do not apologise, Councillor Rushton, for getting rid of those wretched plastic water bottles. I brought my empty, reusable pot in, hoping to find some water, and was very pleased to find some outside. So that is a great improvement. It is these little things that show that as a council we understand you have to enable people to make the right choices. It's not good enough to just give them choices. They have to be enabled to make them themselves, and